Hi there, I'm Stephen, I'm the Boiler Doctor, and in this video mini-series that I'm doing, I'm talking everything energy efficiency. And today I've got Craig Hepburn, who is an expert in all things battery storage, solar panels, car chargers, that kind of thing. So what I want to do is get down into the nitty-gritty of what that's all about and how that can benefit you as a customer. So let's bring in Craig. Morning, Craig.
Morning, Steve. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. So what I want you to do is just briefly introduce yourself and just tell people who you are, what you specialize in and what you do.
Perfect. Well, my name's Craig. I'm an electrical contractor. We're based right up in the north of Scotland, and we specialize in solar PV, battery storage, and electrical vehicle charging points.
With this podcast mini-series that I'm doing, what I want to get down to is what energy efficiency actually is. How can it benefit the customers? But in particular, what does that mean to you?
So energy efficiency to me is how we use energy. We all have to consume energy, be it gas, oil heating, electric, our lights, we all have to consume it. So what it is about is consuming that in the most efficient way possible. So if we look at heating, it's about having your home insulated, having the correct windows and doors in there, so the energy to heat the home, we retain it for as long as we can. And in my business, for solar panels and batteries, it's about using a renewable source that is the sun, retaining that, using that to power our homes with the electricity. But it's about storing that energy. It's sunny through the day, dark through the night. We want to store that energy so we can use it through the night. But yeah, for me, energy efficiency is we have no choice but to consume it. So how well can we consume it? How can we hold on to it? And how can we use as little as possible?
Well, it's a great answer to that, mate, because obviously you're right. We all have to use energy. It's impossible not to. With everything that we do, we use an energy. So trying to keep that cost to a minimum is absolute paramount, because as we know, it costs an absolute fortune to run things these days. So money saving is a massive factor of that. So Craig, what is solar PV and battery storage for somebody that has no idea about what that entails, what it is, what it does, how it works, how they can save money on it? Could you explain to us what that is?
Yeah, so in very simple terms, solar panels go on your roof, they go on the ground, wherever we can get them. The ideal point is due south, to face in due south. The sun is going to come up. It's guaranteed every day, although in Scotland a little less likely. And that sunlight hits the panels. That produces what we call DC power. That will go into what we call an inverter. And that inverter converts that power that's made from the sun to power that's usable in your home. If we bring in battery storage, obviously the sun is up mainly through the day. A lot of people are at work. We don't consume all our power right in the middle of the day when the sun's at its highest and at its brightest. We consume most of our power in the morning, and then it kind of flatlines through the day, and then in the evening we're going to get a spike again when we're boiling the kettle, watching Coronation Street, etc. So battery storage, any excess power that these solar panels generate that isn't being used directly in your house would have been lost. It just goes out to the grid, goes to your neighbors' homes, goes to wherever needs it. What a battery does is it stores that energy so that when you come home at night, like it is just now, it's a little bit dark outside still, that battery has stored the energy from your solar panels. And when you switch the lights on, boil the kettle, that energy is pulled out the battery, which means that if you produce, let's say, 10 kilowatts through the day from your solar panel, that's about the average consumption for a house. Maybe you've used 2 or 3 through the day just to keep your fridge running and all that. You're going to have 7 or 8 kilowatts stored in your battery, ready to do your cooking, get you through the night, your fridge running and all that, and into the next day. And it is very realistic in the summer, if you have the correct size system with the correct size battery, that you can go off grid through the summer months.
That sounds amazing. So in terms of a a percentage saving then from going from zero batteries, solar panels, nothing? If somebody employed you to come and fit a full system, is it dependent on like house size, how many panels you have, or would you size that for the property to give them the maximum saving? I suppose that's a double-barrel question. That what sort of percentage saving are they looking at, and would you need to size that per property?
Yeah, so what we do when we carry out a survey, we'll look at your electricity bills, the type of usage you have, whether somebody's at home all day, if you're working it, during the day, and we'll basically put that into software which will model the correct size system. A lot of it goes down to experience, and my advice is always fit as much panels as you can to the roof. The roof work is the expensive part. We fit scaffold, we go up on your roof, we fit these panels to your roof. If maybe you need 10, that's going to do the amount of energy you're using just now, 10 panels, 4 kilowatts, let's say. However, you might be thinking about an electric car in the future. You might be thinking about air source heat pumps in the future. So I would always recommend, if 10's ideal for you now, we can fit 16. Let's fit 16. And then right now, you'll be oversized. But as we move in, as we electrify the nation, which is what's happening with air source heat pumps, electric cars, you're going to have the maximum amount of panels on your roof, right? And the maximum amount of power. And, in the future, we can change inverters, we can upgrade battery storage systems to give you the best system. But that's my advice, is put as much panels on as you can. The government has just zero rated VAT on standalone battery installs. So now, it was all zero rated VAT. If you fit solar panels and a battery and a car charger, as long as they all work together off the renewable source of the panels, you didn't pay VAT on it. But if you just fitted a battery, so say you already have solar panels on your house from 10 years ago, you want to add a battery, you would have paid VAT on it. But the government is a way to zero rate that VAT in February 2024. So getting that battery storage now, if it's not in the budget, is not such a big issue, because the VAT is going to be saved. Moving on to the next point. If you're a high consumer of electric, you're doing 10, 12,000 kilowatts a year, you have an air source heat pump, you're charging an electric car, and you put a 10 kilowatt system on there that's going to generate, say, 6,000 power a year, your savings are going to be much bigger than somebody in a home like myself, where we're consuming about 3,000 to 4,000 kilowatts a year. So the more electricity you use, the better, really, in terms of savings. But on a typical 4 kilowatt system, I was just looking at one that we installed in September 2022. So I was looking at a year's data to September 2023, and their predicted spend on electric would have been just under £2,000, and they've spent just over £1,000 on electric. So that's about a £900 saving they've had in 1 year. And that is a 3-bedroom bungalow with 3 people living in it. So in terms of your electricity bill, it's a huge saving.
So will that add value to the property, having solar panels, battery storage, all that kind of thing? If they was to do that and then try and sell the home, would it add value to the property?
That's a really good question, Steve. In my opinion, it absolutely should. Installing a system is not cheap, it's getting cheaper, it's really good. But I think personally, and especially if I went into the market to buy a home, it would be something I'd be looking for, 100% I'd be looking for. And in my opinion, it should absolutely add value. And from an estate agent's point of view, a solicitor's point of view, I don't actually know. It's maybe something that I should find out about. I can maybe get back to you on that one.
Yeah, well, it's a point that, to be honest, if I was buying a house and it had battery storage, solar panels, you know that you're going to save on your energy. So surely that's a positive factor to be buying a house, So I can quite believe that it would. But whether or not the the estate agents and whatever have jumped onto that yet. I've no idea.
Property we just finished, the install we just finished, they were talking about this, and they said this might not be our forever home. And they asked, and we were discussing, can they just leave the panels on the roof with the electrical connections and take their batteries and inverter with them to their new house if it doesn't have solar? And that is absolutely possible. Obviously, you'd have to discuss it with your estate agents and whoever's going to buy your home. But that is a 100% possible that you can just remove the battery storage with you and take it to your new house.
And then they've got solar panels ready to connect a battery or whatever else they need to, if they want to in the future. So yeah, it's good. It's a good thing to sort of discuss that, isn't it? Because obviously people don't live in homes forever. You know, they move on as the family grows and stuff. So if you're not going to benefit, you know, you're going to pay, I don't know what a battery system would cost. But if you're going to spend 20, 30, 40 grand on these battery installations for a home you're only living in for 3-4 years, that could be an incentive to do it almost, you know, knowing that you can take it with you. So what long-term benefits does your product or service offer?
So solar on its own, most panels will come with a 25 to 30 year guarantee. So in terms of long-term benefits, I would say you're just going to get a guaranteed output from those panels for 25 to 30 years, which is superb. Battery storage, for me, the benefit with battery storage right now is what the energy companies are doing in terms of the tariffs that are becoming available. The project we just finished last week, they have an electric car. Now, Octopus Energy and many others get you onto an overnight tariff if you have an electric car. Cheaper for, depending on the tariff, this particular customer had an intelligent tariffs where he had 6 hours of cheap electricity at just under 8 pence a kilowatt. And what the batteries allow you to do is charge them up in that cheap window. So in winter, especially in the north of Scotland where there's not that much sun, that customer is charging his batteries up with 15 kilowatts of electric every evening, which is enough to cover his house for a full day at just under 8 pence a kilowatt, when normally he would be buying that electricity in through the day at about 30 pence a kilowatt. So he's cutting his bills down by 2/3 just by having that battery storage there and a cheap tariff. So in terms of long-term savings, I think the market is going to go that way with trying to balance the grid. We've all heard in the news about blackouts and all this sort of stuff, and all these tariffs from the energy companies are coming out where they're going to start enabling people with batteries to take cheap electricity and give electricity when they need it. And I mean, even just now, there's people making money by having battery storage. So in terms of long-term benefits for panels, it's just definitely the longevity and the guarantees that for the next 20 to 30 years, you're going to be producing. And in terms of battery storage, I think it's going to be how the energy companies market their tariffs and what you can do with them to save yourself money.
So do these batteries last? Sorry to just jump in there, but as you were speaking, I was thinking, you're obviously charging and using the energy out of these batteries every day, a bit like a car, you know, it's charging it, you know. So these batteries, if you've got, say, 20 years of use out of them, are they going to need replacing after 20 years?
So most batteries will come with a 10-year guarantee. Some batteries have a cycle limit, so that guarantee will last as long as you keep it below, say, 10,000 cycles. 10,000 out, in, out, in.
Charges and uses.
That exactly, yeah. So that's becoming less relevant now as time moves on and technology moves on. Manufacturers are more confident in their batteries and they know they're going to last. So when I get this question from customers, all that I can say is they've got a 10-year guarantee. What they do after that and how long they last, you know, it's battery technology is not new, but the way that we're using them now is relatively new. Hopefully the last 20, 30 years.
If I bring it to my world, installing boilers, like most boilers company, you can get between 5 and 18 years warranty now, depending on model and other things of boilers. But it's a how long's a piece of string kind of thing. You know, how regularly do you get it maintained? You know, you can never, you know, it's going to be backed by the manufacturers for that period of time. But so I completely understand the answer to your question, is what I'm getting at. So this question is aimed more about the business and what a customer should be looking out for when they're choosing a contractor to carry out this type of work installation. And the reason I asked this is we're at opposite ends of the country. You're in Scotland, I'm in York. So people are watching this from my end and they're interested in battery storage, solar PV, that kind of thing. What should they be looking out for in terms of a company to use to install their battery and solar?
Great question. Something that I feel quite passionate about as well. As the industry, you'll probably be aware of this as well in your industry, it gets a very bad name from a small selection of installers. So if you're looking for somebody, and it is you can be spending between 10 and 15,000 pounds. You know, it's not a small investment, so you want to get it right. So we have MCS, which is used to be government run to police installations in the renewable energy sector. So MCS registration, although not 100% what it's about, shows a commitment by a company to meet a certain set of standards. You have all your normal NAPIT, NIC, EIC registrations. I would look out for all that types of things, Trustmark and that. But for me personally, if it was me and I didn't do this, what I'd be looking for is credibility in the forms of like their visibility. Are they out there on social media? Are they showing their work? If I ring them up, are they happy to show me a job? Can they give me 2 or 3 customers that I could talk to say how was it? Is it working, etc. Like I say, it's a huge investment. So getting the right installation team is massively important.
Our industry as a whole, the trades industry, shall we put it under that umbrella, the bar is so low in terms of communication, just the basics, communication, turning up when you say you're going to turn up, just everything around it. So customers sat at home wondering that they're getting us in for a quote and they're half expecting us not to turn up, even to give them a quote. So you're looking out for guys that are on time, that are letting you know when they're on the way. The communication's great. They've got no objection in speaking to you about price and going through your quote, that kind of thing. And sort of get a feel for them, I'd say. You sort of get that feel for people as you meet them. So I would personally, in my industry, certainly like the person, and then once you've gone, once you've chose who you're going to use, go for the accreditations, then Google reviews, that kind of thing, and that's what I would recommend. But yeah, we're singing off the same hymn sheet, mate. That's exactly what we both would say, I think.
Just to add to that, my overall recommendation would be if you can find local, whereas if you do encounter problems, you can just, if you needed to, you can turn up at this business premises and say, look, what's going on here? Where we are in the country, I come across a lot of systems fitted by companies from, Glasgow, Edinburgh, further south. And when there is a problem, you'll understand as this, if you went and fitted a boiler 200 miles away from home and you had a problem, that's a problem for you to get there. So even as a legit, business that cares, it's hard to get there. So my advice is local, credibility, visible, with a auditable background, as in, have you done installs before? Can we see your work? And they turn up to your house. Do you like them? I once had a guy, it was an air source heat pump and solar job, and we turned up, and the guy was sort of looking us up and down, and he was like, you know what, I was expecting a salesman in a suit, but you guys clearly do the work. And we're like, yeah, we're in our work trousers, you know, we're inspecting your property to give you the most accurate cost and the best job possible.
And what better way to do that? Obviously, the installer is going to go and price the work, so you know what you're going to walk into. You know, if a salesman's doing it, not that I'm knocking them guys, because there might be some brilliant teams of people out there that the salesman does the pricing. But if you're going out and physically looking at the job yourself, you're not going to get as many of them hiccups and them things that you didn't see. You know what I mean? Like they happen on jobs, don't they? They happen to us all. It's one of them. And it's how you overcome them. And I love that point about using local, because you're right. And I'm going to go into how, like, I fit a boiler about 6 months ago for an existing customer that moved about an hour away. And that it was a process, that job. It worked just like go in, fit the boiler and walk away. I had to go first fix, wait for plasterer, go back, second fix. And it was an hour out of my way. And I did it because I wanted to look after my existing customer. But in reality, I should have said no, because now that, like you say, that job that's an hour away, if it's a problem for me. And it's going to be an hour there to resolve the issue and an hour back, which then eats into my day. So I love that point, mate. So, Craig, in terms of you and your business, then, I know we've covered a lot about energy efficiency and battery solar, what that does. But in terms of you and your company mission, vision, where are you at with that? And what does your company look like in, say, 5 years' time?
Great question. So just now we're a very small firm. There's me, my apprentice, my wife runs our admin side. We've got 2 small children, so you know there's the whole family thing going on there. We have subcontractors that I can pull in for bigger jobs that we work with a lot. Trusted subcontractors, as class them, not just who's available. And we will adjust our calendar to suit getting the best team in. 5 years' time, I'd like to have 3 vans on the road. I'd like to have 2 installation teams. I'd like to be a specialist in the renewables. It's kind of where we're heading now. I love working in the renewables. Obviously, we're an electrical contractor at heart, and we'll always do that. But I don't know. I get a lot of satisfaction installing renewable energy for people. When I get emails saying, "Hey, my bill's like £10 this month," that, you know, I like helping people. So yeah, in terms of a business, I want to be, you know, 3 vans on the road. I want a good, reliable team. You talked earlier about customer service. That is the biggest thing that I want to work on, ensuring that no matter what you inquire with us for, you get the same service. Nobody gets missed. Because as the company's growing, that's one of the biggest pains we've had. So yeah, we want 5-star customer service. We want a team of reliable, qualified, highly skilled, passionate electricians to install renewable energy for as long as we can, basically.
And knowing you personally, mate, I know we know each other because we're in a group together, but I know you'll achieve that, mate, just because of your mindset, and you do care, and it comes across not just through knowing you because we're in a group together, but just your whole personality, mate. You've got that family background. You're a trustworthy guy. It's just one of them, and it shines. So I'm not surprised that you're doing really well, and I'm under no illusion that you're going to absolutely smash them goals and dreams out of the park. So I want to twist this a little bit now, Craig. What's the funniest moment that's happened to you at work? A story? It doesn't have to be even in this career. If you've had a job when you was a teenager, just something within the work space of your life. Have you got a funny story, something that's happened to you?
I do remember when I started my apprenticeship, I was very conscious not to get caught out on the cent for a tin of tartan paint. I was very so everything was questions, you know. And one of my journeymen, a guy Charlie, he was brilliant. He once sent me to the van it was my week of work experience. And he sent me to the van. He's like, go grab me a duxie. So I just ran off and I opened the back doors of the van. I'm like, I don't know what that is. So I was like, I'm not going to get chosen, I'm not going to get the job because I don't know what this is. So I was raking through boxes and all that. I was like, this is taking too long. I'm just going to have to go and ask. So I went back and I says, Charlie, I'm sorry. What's a duxie? And he's like, quack, quack. So that was the only time I got caught out with one of those type jokes. I was on
and
my
you was
toes
looking
after
out for it.
But yeah, most of my very funny stories come from traveling around the world. Just great people, great memories. And that's a bit of advice to anyone. Maybe you're somebody watching this that's not in the trades and all that. If you can get paid to travel the world, 100% do it. 100%.
Go and do it. You recommend that?
Yeah, we've got a big skills shortage. I think you'd agree. So a trade is not just about a building site. A trade can get you anywhere in the world. I mean, I traveled the world for 10 years. So yeah. And if anyone else does it, we can maybe share some stories.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I picked up on there, mate, which is a great insight into you that I didn't know, because I didn't know that. I didn't know you traveled the world. But you started as going through an apprenticeship. Then you moved on to working in an office, which give you the office skills and knowledge of pricing work, dealing with customers, that kind of thing. Then you went and honed in on your skill and worked for 10 years doing working around the world. And now you've set up on your own with the knowledge that you gained when you was an apprentice, the office-based stuff, and the experience that you've got. All that combined is obviously led you to where you are today. But there's no wonder that you work for yourself and you're creating this amazing business.
I mean, that sounds impressive when you say it back to me.
So to wrap this up then, Craig, how can people find you if they want to know more about solar PV, they want to use your services, or they want to follow you on the socials?
Yeah, so I'm on all the usual social medias. We're on Instagram, Facebook. We're going to be posting a lot more regularly. We're going to be bringing out some videos to help people about stuff we've chatted about today, just breaking down systems in layman's terms. So yeah, if you're on the social media, absolutely come and check us out. Our website, clhe.co.uk, has a bit about us on there. And again, we're going to be sharing some knowledge-based videos to help people out with what is a minefield of a market.
Well, I'd just like to wrap this up, Craig, by thanking you, mate. Thank you so much for that knowledge. That's going to be so valuable to so many people who are just sat not knowing what benefits that solar, batteries, storage, that kind of thing will have on in terms of their energy and in terms of their bills, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to save energy, but we're all also trying to save money. So that was a fantastic interview, mate, and thank you very much for coming on. I do appreciate you, mate, and have an amazing afternoon, whatever you're doing.
You're very welcome, Steve. Thank you, and a big shout out to you for all you're doing. I love these podcast series, and yeah, keep up the good work, mate.
Thank you, my mate. See you later.